165 million people, an area the size of a single Russian region. This is Bangladesh. By many metrics, it is one of the most difficult places to live on Earth. The water is poisoned, the air is toxic, the streets are pure chaos. The biggest mystery here is not the poverty or the pollution, it is a simple question: how does anyone survive this? Today we will try to find an answer.
One of the main problems in Bangladesh is terrible overpopulation. Just think about it. By population, it ranks 8th in the world, by territory 92nd. In terms of road length, the country ranks 20th in the world, but the roads are pretty bad. Traffic jams are crazy. Railway is an alternative. There are 2,500 kilometers of railroads, which is not a lot for 165 million people. As a result, the trains are always full. People get inside from everywhere, as if they were flies. Rajashi Express is particularly famous for this. It's a train from Dhaka to Champagnat. During the festival of Eid al-Fitr, up to 8 million people are leaving Dhaka to go to their villages in the northeast. In this period, it is impossible even to get on top of the train. You have probably seen these pictures. It only happens on holidays, but even aside from this, trains are not exactly great here. They are old and very slow. So mainly people get around the city and between the cities by bus or in a car. There is a lot of chaos on the roads for several reasons. First, it is a complete disregard of the traffic rules. People here don't care. They drive into oncoming traffic, park wherever they want, turn wherever they want. Another problem is that there are a lot of rickshaws here, many of which move with pedestrian speed or even slower. The road itself is a big issue. There are no traffic lights or signs. People have to manage on their own, and it often happens that they follow the principle, he who is stronger shall pass first. Here we are, another traffic jam. Everybody's stuck here, everybody's stuck there. No one is going anywhere because we are in Bangladesh. By the way, look at the condition of the buses. Buses here are made of God knows what. But they are painted, some, multiple times. They're covered in all of this shit. They are rusty, you can really see that. Some of them are freshly painted, but others, not really. People get on the bus and get out without the vehicle stopping. The most surprising thing in this whole mess is that they honk their horns all the time. What for? I don't know. I mean, no one is moving anywhere anyway. Why honk? Can you hear this endless noise? Everyone is honking their horns. From my point of view, it doesn't make any sense, but apparently people like it. Maybe honking makes them feel better mentally. Maybe it gives them a feeling that something will change. Of course, nothing will change. This guy over here stopped for a cigarette. This, by the way, is very common in Dhaka. Don't be tricked into thinking that this is an extraordinary situation here. It happens all the time. The bus is fed up with this traffic, so it let people go right in the middle of the road. And this is a railway. There's this overground metro in the city for people to get around somehow. They're trying to solve the traffic problem like this. So it's like a light rail line here. It was opened recently. Now let's see how light rail works in Dhaka. There is a large station above the road. You can see people rushing here. The escalator doesn't work, of course. The metro is fairly new for the Bangladeshis. There has never been anything like that here, so people are taking pictures on the platforms, taking selfies with the train to show others what it looks like. In addition, there are a lot of guards, policemen and metro workers here. They literally accompany passengers by the hand and explain how to use the turnstiles, where to go, how to buy tickets. Everyone is taking pictures, and here is a guard. He has an important job to keep people away from this yellow line. He's like, do not go there. There must be order. A lot of cables, people, garbage. There must be a river somewhere here, according to the map. Garbage is everywhere. People must be throwing garbage right from their windows. And here we are, at a beautiful waterfront to enjoy this stunning view. What a beautiful river. It's as if we were in Venice. They also have gondolas here, which you can use to go somewhere. Now let's put them to the test. This is what the shore looks like. What can I say? It's as if we were in Paris. There is a public restroom here. People are there. Here is a landfill, a lot of garbage. The water in this river is black, and in general, Dhaka is really polluted. A total of 350 tons of waste are estimated to be dumped into the river daily. I don't know if you can see it, but the water is black. From the smell, I can tell the sewage is definitely dumped there, along with the garbage and other shit. The river is dead, there's no fish, nothing. Because, according to scientists, there's no more oxygen in the water. All living things died except for microorganisms that don't need oxygen, they still manage to survive there. There are strange boats all along the shore, a lot of small vessels or something. And people get from one bank to the other aboard these little boats. Here you can see the banks full of garbage. All this stuff is garbage, and it gets into the river, so the water turns black. Although the river is dead, the water stinks, there's no fish, no plants, people still use this water. They wash the dishes in it, they swim, they bathe here. It is unbelievable. Look at all this action along the bank. There are boats and various ships here. In addition, there is this kind of a barge here that is so heavily loaded that it's almost completely immersed in water. And these guys in this boat are driving to the bottom looking for some metal parts or something that they can sell later. They've dropped anchor and now Tera are going to dive to get something off the bottom. He's going to change now. And this is his mask. What can you see with this mask? The water is literally black. They've got a mask and an oxygen hose. This dude keeps diving, but he hasn't found anything yet. So we'll go on with our trip now. What's interesting is that the traffic on the water here is almost the same as on the roads. Nobody gives a damn about what's going on. We're going to bump into them. All good. They've brought some grass to the market. This is how they get things to the market, and all the excess is dumped into the river later. This is the vegetable market. The boats with vegetables arrive here, then they are unloaded by hand. Here you can see that all the trash goes into the river. Directly to the river. No one cares about it. The important thing is to sell the salad that they've brought here, to sell all these baskets. The greens that they have unloaded from the boat. There are contrasts anywhere in Bangladesh. On one bank they sell stuff right on the ground, and on the other one there is a whole district of public institutions. This is the building of the National Assembly of Bangladesh. Its construction began in 1961, when Bangladesh was still a part of Pakistan. It was finished only in 1983, when the country became independent. The building's architect, Louis Kahn, died 9 years before its completion. In fact, after the partition of India in 1947, the Bengal region was divided in half according to religion. The western part was left with India, and the Muslim part, the eastern one, with Pakistan. Pakistan and the current territory territory of Bangladesh were more than 1,000 kilometers apart, and they became one country. Immediately after, in East Pakistan, as Bangladesh was called then, there emerged independence movements. So the building on the National Assembly was started back when the country was ruled by Pakistan. But in 1971, Bangladesh started a war for independence and won it with the help of India. And Louis Kahn changed the building project, focusing more on democracy. A concrete octagon was placed in the center of the building where the parliament is located. 8 other blocks were built around it, all connected with the central part. Kahn was a master of brutalism and modernism, so the building came out stern-looking and extraordinary at the same time. The main building in Bangladesh was dedicated to democracy, but the democracy itself is not doing very well in this country. According to the Democracy Index, Bangladesh ranks 75th in the world, 30 points lower than neighboring India. It is still above Russia or Belarus, though. In December last year, large-scale demonstrations broke out in the country. The opposition Nationalist Party demanded the resignation of the government. The protesters themselves stated that around 200,000 people gathered there, but according to the authorities, they did not exceed 30,000. So in terms of architecture, this building is one of the main attractions here, at least for architecture enthusiasts. I mean, the famous Louis Kahn built such a great parliament for Bangladesh, and I wanted to come closer and study it better. But no, they put a fence here, specifically for the protesters. People say that in the past you could come closer, but now there's this fence and it is no longer possible. They are walled off from ordinary people, so we can't get any closer than that. You can only look at this spectacular building in the images or on the internet, or through the fence. It is forbidden to film not only the National Assembly itself, but also the houses of their officials nearby. These buildings are the houses of the parliament members, their little houses. Amazing. And here's a pond and a fence. By the way, it turns out you can't film from behind the fence either. Because now, when I tried to record again, the guards came out, started whistling at me like, "How dare you filming something here?" Even behind the fence. Again, some bullshit on the road. Fence, cops, all this mess. No, I can't feel the democracy here. Louis Kahn must have imagined something else when designing the building. And now, his building is behind 2 fences. Try to enjoy it, can you? Every 50 meters of the road, there's a cop who stops you from recording. Now, after seeing the houses of the civil servants, let's look at another bureaucracy entity. I'm talking about the post office. The post office in Dhaka really surprised me. Guys, I've arrived at the post office. What's interesting about it? The main department of the post office offers a wide variety of benches. Urban planning solutions found me in a place where I least expected them. Look, first there are plated benches like this. As if we were in a park. There's even someone working on their laptop here. They must have been stolen from a park. There are smaller benches. There are standard ones made of metal as if they were from an airport or train station. There are high and uncomfortable ones. Also, they have different kinds of chairs there. What a variety of seats. This is what the post office looks like. In Bangladesh, there are a huge number of people living in a very small area. It is one of the 10 most overpopulated countries in the world. At the same time, it yields only to countries like Monaco, Singapore and Bahrain. The population density here is 1,300 people per square kilometer. For comparison, in Japan, a total of 330 people live in 1 square kilometer, and in Russia, a total of 8.5 people. Yeah, we're enjoying the space in Russia. So it's not surprising that in Bangladesh, people are also forced to live on the rails. When I was here first time 10 years ago, I captured the amazing shacks that were located right on the rails. I suggest that we go and see if they still exist now. On the way, we'll pass by the fish market. Yes, another market. This is the fish market, and here they break the ice. This is how they clean fish. This fish market, it may seem like a regular market, but it's very authentic, Bangladeshi style. A lot of people, a lot of different kinds of fish. So what's so special about it? At the end of the market, near the railroad tracks, there is a whole department where they clean the fish. There are people sitting here and cleaning the fish, then the fins are removed with a fixed knife, like this one. So there are dozens of people working here. The people behind me are in charge of cleaning the fish. You can buy something, bring it here, and they'll clean it for you. So it's ready to be cooked. Very convenient. Look at this service. There are dozens of people. Fish cleaning is truly mass here. One cuts the fins, the other guts it, the third one cuts it into pieces and puts them in baskets. Everything is done very fast. Men, women and children work together. This man, for example, has brought a bag of fish and is waiting to have it cleaned. Great service. And here you can see some goats. Here they are sawing something. Life goes on not only in the marketplace but also on the railway, leading to the market. And the train traffic is not even stopped. Sometimes an occasional train passes. People get from the market directly to the tracks. People are drying the fish scale here. Someone is selling plates. You'll see it now. So Bangladeshis learn to survive on these roads. When the train is coming, they can feel it. And just a moment before the train comes, they remove their stuff. They get off the tracks and the train can pass. Then they occupy the tracks again. People sell stuff right on the railway. You see, they came out here. Those who didn't find space in the market took over the tracks. And they are selling things right here. There was a signal. That means a train is coming. Let's see how fast people will leave the tracks. For now, no one is in a hurry. Everyone is still trading without any changes. Just look at how many people are walking along the tracks. Basically, the railroad tracks are used as a walking area. People don't care much. The passage barrier is already lowering, but people don't look sideways. They don't seem to worry. They'll probably move at the last moment. This guy has no arm. I don't know if that has anything to do with him walking on the tracks. Here you can see how many people are on the tracks, although the barriers have already been lowered. Basically, they are going to get away at the last moment. The train is coming. The train has passed and life and commerce go on. Unfortunately, I do not have the statistics of those who died like this, not leaving the rails in time, but I believe that those that were slow were subjected to natural selection. Only the strongest and most skilled ones remained. I am a bit worried because I'm not that experienced.
There is none of any recent incident, that's accident where people are dead. But a few years ago, a train missed their track.
2 years ago.
4 years ago.
4 years ago. 26 people.
26 people.
This is what the traffic looks like at the intersection. These bicy rickshaws, cars, everyone is running. As you can see, they are also moving in the oncoming lane. Note that the passage barriers are on the both sides, Although here the traffic is heading that way, you may ask, why do they need a barrier after the railway? Exactly because people are moving both ways, to block the oncoming traffic. The barrier has been lifted, now everyone is trying to move forward. But the bike rickshaws are quite slow. The horrible shacks from the past were demolished, but people still live in terrible conditions. For example, they collect metal to survive. What about these guys? What do? They are looking for plastic and metal. They collect it and sell by weight, per kilogram. May I see? How much plastic do you collect in a day? It depends. Today we are lucky. A truck came and dumped the garbage. So today we did find it. Okay, I see. It is not a regular thing. Yes, I understand, but it is $100 or like $200 a month? How much do you earn a month? Every month about 20,000 takas? 20? Yes, equivalent to $200. How many people are in your family? 3. 3 people? Is she your wife? No, she is the wife of the man in the shirt. It's his wife? Yes, she is his wife. And how many people are in his family? 4. 2 children, husband and wife. And who are you? I am the buyer. Ah, you buy from them? You are a buyer and they are sellers. After buying the waste, how much do you sell it for? When I'm in the market, there's a fixed price there. Iron is 53 takas per kilo. Plastic, 45 per kilo. How much do you earn per month from the sale? 25,000, 30,000 takas? So take it from them. And to whom do you sell it? I sell it to the resellers. And what do they do with that? They melt the plastic, make tubes and other things? How old are you? How old is she? 7. And you? 13. He is 13. But today is Monday, why aren't they at school?
The lack of money. That's why they are not able to continue their school fees and other buying books and stuff. That's why they skip the school.
They skip only for today or?
No, they totally don't go to school.
This is the end of an era, my friends, because there used to be an amazing slums next to these tracks here. I was walking here with my own legs. I remember every corner of these slums, and now they demolished everything. No more authentic Bangladeshi shanties. In Russia, the inhabitants of districts like this would be very fond of alcohol, but in Bangladesh, everything is different. If you want to stop drinking, guys, come to Bangladesh. According to 2018 statistics, people in Bangladesh hardly drink any alcohol. It's not surprising, as the national religion is Islam, and until 2022, one could go to jail for drinking alcohol. The ban was only for Muslims and the others needed special permission. But every time the authorities forbid something, a black market comes into play. Bangladeshis often got sick or even died from the adulterated liquor. The Bangladeshi government recognized the problem and decided to legalize alcohol little by little. An official permit is still required to purchase alcohol, but now it's easier to get it. Muslims also need to provide a doctor's prescription, and the doctor has to have at least a PhD. Yes, you need a doctor's prescription to drink alcohol here, like marijuana in some countries. By the way, the recipe must include a disease for which one needs a drink, and the reason for resorting to such medication. I think a valid reason would be that you are fed up with this constant noise and dust, and if you don't drink, you might not survive. The interesting thing is that the foreigners do not need any permission. They can drink alcohol in bars and restaurants. But there are very few places like this. Alcohol is not sold in ordinary stores and prices are 10 times higher than in Russia or Europe. For example, a can of beer at a hotel costs $15. A cheap Australian wine, Jacob's Creek, which is sold in any supermarket and costs less than $10, here's the bottle costs $200 and $250. A common South African wine, here it also costs $250, $300 per bottle, while in Europe it costs 5 to 7 euros and in Russia maybe 10 to 12. If you go to Bangladesh, keep in mind that you won't be able to have a drink here or only a very expensive one. So quit it. Quit drinking now and learn to enjoy the views of Bangladesh without it. Everything is weird with alcohol in Bangladesh, even at the airport. There is a very limited choice of alcohol and other items. Someone brought several boxes of whiskey and they are here looking very sad. Also, I have a feeling that it might be fake. It actually looks like Grandpa's collection. There are some bottles without labels. I don't even understand what it is. It costs $9. Oh, it's a whiskey. Harbin beer. Some unknown wine. Made in England. Borisov premium class vodka. What year is it from? These revenue stamps look strange. It says it contains 37.5% of alcohol. Premium vodka. This is the first time I see something like this in duty-free. This is fun because it's a room for internal flights, and all the surfaces that could be filled with ads are filled with ads. There are screens everywhere. You get washing machines, cars and jewelry ads from all sides. Yeah, very pretty. The only thing they didn't think through is that it's an airport after all, and people need to know the information on their flights. Here there is practically no information on the screens, so airport employees have to call passengers with a tiny speaker. The little screens for flights info do not work. No information here. It honestly surprises me sometimes how far people can go to post their advertisements. Like, you know, sometimes a mayor hangs ad banners all over the town, and here the head of the airport decided to do the same. You have to use every opportunity to earn money. However, I'm not sure that this amount of advertising is efficient in any way, but what's done is done. I'm heading to Chittagong, the second largest city and the most important port of Bangladesh. I went there with only one goal, to see the local ship graveyard. Bangladesh is a very poor country. According to different estimates, the average salary of Bangladeshi does not exceed $250 a month. By GDP, Bangladesh barely surpasses Denmark, while Bangladesh is 27 times bigger than Denmark. Thanks to that, Bangladesh has very cheap labor, so you can do labor-intensive business here. For example, breaking ships into pieces. Huge cargo ships are brought to Chittagong, the ones that can no longer be used at sea. There are more than 20 piers nearby where they dismantle ships to get the iron from them. Thousands of people work in these marine graveyards. They often work by hand without proper equipment. And they suffer from injuries and poisoning with toxic materials. But, as I've already said, Bangladeshis don't have much choice. They're willing to do any job. Here on the coast, there are a lot of workshops where ships are sawn. According to publications on the matter, half of the ships that fell into disuse end up here, on the coastline in Bangladesh, where they break them into iron. All of that looks incredibly epic. Imagine a huge ship thrown to the shore as if it was a whale. And these people, with their primitive instruments, break these old iron parts. They cut pieces of it little by little. This looks incredible. There are videos and some images of that on the internet, but lately they have tightened the rules of access to this site. They fear that if it becomes public, if foreigners film it, this local business will be closed. They care about their money because this thing brings them profit. The fact
That's a few months ago, they got any report that against Bangladesh shipyards and shipbreaking policy. It's a journal report from the foreign journal. That's why they think that it's harmful for their business. That's why they totally forbidden any foreigner to visit their fields. future. They said no.
Despite the ban, we wanted to see it, at least from a distance. Now I'm going to take a boat and we are going to see everything right from the sea. This is what it looks like from the water. You can't get very close. First, there are some sticks and nets there. I guess the workers built some kind of water fence so that no one gets closer. Second, the boys from our boat are afraid to go there. They say if the workers see us, they will start throwing stones at us. Also, there are guards here in speedboats. And if they see someone filming, they can stop us, and who knows what they will do. They just really don't like it when people film them. Because the working conditions are particular here, the safety rules are obviously not followed. I saw how a considerable part of the ship simply collapsed into the sea. They break it from the inside and the giant pieces fall into the sea, and then they take them to the shore with wire cables and break them into smaller parts. Obviously, sooner or later someone will get injured here with these saws. It has become possible thanks to very cheap labor. People earn $5 to $7 a day doing this job. Meaning that per month, if they work every day, they earn $150 to $100. But it costs nothing to do it, so dozens of people choose this dangerous work. Nothing is automated, the tools are primitive because normal equipment costs more than a worker with a stick. That's how they bring tools and fuel to the boat. What is this spectacular city famous for? It is the second largest city in Bangladesh with a population of around 10 million people. Also here they honor the memory of Soviet sailors. How did they even get here? In 1972, more than 50 years ago, Soviet sailors came here to provide assistance to the young country of Bangladesh, which had just declared its independence. And there was a problem, because after the war, the only port here was mined. And furthermore, it was blocked by sunken boats. During the war, boats were blocking it on purpose. They were sank so that you could not approach the shore. The docks were destroyed. This could lead to a humanitarian catastrophe, because even the boats with humanitarian aid on board could not get to the shore. So the young and independent country of Bangladesh turned to others for help. The sunken ships had to be removed, the port had to be demined. And as they say, I cannot know for sure, all countries asked for a fairly high price for their service. And only the Soviet Union was ready to do it for humanitarian reasons, as a gesture of goodwill. A gesture of Soviet-Bangladeshi friendship. Soviet sailors came here, they brought modern equipment, and for 2 years they were removing the sunken ships, demining the port and, well, helping the Bangladeshis in other ways. They say that the local population was worried because they thought the only free cheese is in the mousetrap, especially if it's from the USSR. They thought the Soviet sailors and military were going to impose their order here, that they would build a military base or something. What did they do it for? There was no need to worry. The Soviet Union cleaned the bay and left these lands in peace. By the way, I was reading some memories of one of the participants of this special operation, and he commented on the difficulties faced by Soviet sailors. First, there was a very strong current. You could only work a few hours a day between high tide and low tide. Second, there was zero visibility. Because underwater, even in January, when they say the water is clean, you still can't see anything. I mean, nothing at all. The sea is super dirty, that's why raising the sunken boats to the surface was a huge problem. Also, there was a lot of mud and some ships were sunk 5-10 meters in it, so they had to remove this mud first and then to lift it somehow. Also the weather. The temperature was like 40 degrees above zero, a lot of insects, they had to work in these terrible conditions. But these Soviet sailors and engineers were heroes. They cleaned the bay, and now in Bangladesh, I wanted to say that everything is fine, but no. It's still very bad, but at least back then they helped them. You can no longer find Soviet sailors in Bangladesh, but let's look for fishermen who now can navigate the cleared bay. There is low tide now, and all the fishermen's boats basically ended up in the field. After lunch, the water will rise and they'll be in the sea again. All that will be filled with water. And now these boats seem so sad they are stuck in the field for now. And we are around a kilometer away from the sea. The sea is far away. It would be good to launch a drone here, but drones are strictly prohibited in Bangladesh. That's why I decided not to risk it. I will have to enjoy these little boats lying in the fields near the coast from the ground, which is not so impressive. By the way, here is an interesting fact. They make these lakes in a way that the fish stays here after low tide. And then they capture them with a net. The boy caught a crab. He caught a crab. Let me see, show me the crab. Show me. It's a big crab. They sell fried crabs right here. You can buy one and eat right here. And this must be the saleswoman. There are shrimps and something else, some unknown fish. It should be noted that it's very quiet here and it's safe to film here. Maybe it will be different in other places, but for now, no one has been outraged that I'm recording. Nor did they try to hide from camera or ask for money. Everyone seemed pretty chill. They are just minding their own business. And no one pays attention to a curly traveler from the far called Russia. And that is the right thing to do. The afternoon arrives, the high tide, and the port gains a second life. Because if you wanted to take a boat to go to the island during the day, here within a few kilometers there is an island. Very populated, and the boats to go to these islands are overcrowded. During low tide, to get to the boat you have to go along a long pier. 1 kilometer long, you can walk or take this bike cart. The boats are already starting up, there are some fast boats too. Each has two 75 horsepower Yamaha engines. They go to this island full of people. Soon, the boarding will be done here because the water rises rapidly. They write that the water level changes by 5 meters. I don't know if that's true, but apparently the sea really goes away a lot and comes back. We couldn't buy any fish, but let's see the city at least. It's interesting. They work with these cables and the ladder is supported by the same cables. And the cables here, as it is usually the case in Asia, are infinite. I think no one knows which ones are actually in use. The buses, the rickshaws, just like in India. Yes, the traffic looks amazing here. Especially if you need to cross the street. Now I'm going to try to do it very carefully. Oh, I made it. Now I can enjoy local transportation. Bicycle rickshaws, motor rickshaws, buses, and as you can see, people don't care about which lane to take. Of course, it causes a lot of tension when everyone is honking their horns. I don't understand this logic. They just go and honk their horns. Just like that, you go and honk. After half an hour, I have a terrible headache. Maybe it's just me, but this noise, it's a lot. Traffic jams appear out of nowhere. Because as you can see, the speed can be high as there are bike rickshaws in every lane. People are crossing the street and everything can stop literally out of nowhere and nobody can go anywhere. But people don't care. And this is a person sleeping in a tight bag. In the middle of the road, I don't understand how he got there, nor how he's going to get out of there. But that also happens. This is what the train station looks like. Looks a lot like India. There aren't so many people though, nobody's sleeping on the floor. People line up for tickets pressing one against the other. Well, even though it is the second largest city, it takes 7 hours by train to reach Dhaka, the capital. There is no good rail connection and the trains are very slow. Everything is messed up, so it's better to go by car. And by car, it takes 4 hours to get there. No trains. They built a station, but I only see one train. It's still under construction, I think. They've already planted some flowers here. Soon, everything will look great. It seems strange to me, because with so much population, they could have developed an efficient railway system. And this one, it can be used, but only because there's no alternative. I don't think you can go far with this. The trains generally look like those in India. The interesting thing is that they don't wash the cars. The cars are very dirty. There is an option for the richer ones with some armchairs. In addition to dead ships and fish, the sea supplies Chittagong with salt. This is what the salt boats look like. Everything is filled with salt. They bring it to salt warehouses by hand, there it's packaged in bags, and from there it goes to the stores or wholesale buyers. There are also those big ships from where the salt is unloaded with a crane. There are some trucks, so it's like an industrial process, the transportation of the salt. And there are also these small boats from where they carry the salt to the warehouse. Now the tide is low, so these boats, they are on the shore now. And they're carrying the salt in these baskets, and then when they weigh the baskets, these guys are weighing them. 52 kilos. So people are carrying 50-kilo bags all day long on their heads, and they look happy and cheerful. It will take forever to unload this boat. It seems that it would be easy to automate everything here, but labor costs less than any machine. That's why there is no automation. Everything is the same as it was 1,000 years ago. And they wash it here, right? There are people standing in the salt mixture doing everything by hand.
Then they start this process in the first step, and the water became rough, and they feel pain in their like salt is.
A salt market. Here is a salt storage. They pack it in the sacks right here. And then it goes further. Each bag weighs 50 kilos. In general, carrying 50-kilo bags on your head is not very good for your health, but the people here have no choice. I decided to try their lifestyle myself. My back. I don't understand how these guys can carry those bags of salt so calmly. For me it is a mystery because the bag is super heavy. It's not the bag that's heavy, it's that someone is weak here. The bags of salt are delivered here on heads, then get sorted. In some parts they are hand-selected, in others they are conveyor like this. Hello. Where are you from? From Russia. I'm a tourist. This is how packaging is done. Look at his speed. One after another, one after another. How much do they earn? Those who transport salt per less than those who process it later. But on average, they earn $5 to $7 a day. The workers eat in the same market where they work. By the way, food prices are not very low for their salaries.
How much is snacks? For example, the bread with banana. Yeah. They take bread, banana, and something like and tea. How much for that?
Bread is 10 taka, that means 1 cent.
1 cent?
1 cent.
No, 10 taka. It's 10 cent. No.
1 cent.
1 cent.
Then banana also 10 taka. And tea takes 5 taka, that means 0.5 cent.
Taking into account that they earn less than $1 per hour, they need to work 1 hour to have a banana and a slice of bread here. India was once made up of several different counties, then it was united by the British Empire, and later it was cut into pieces like those ships in Chittagong. During the 20th century, Bangladesh was under different rules. But it seems that none of them have been able to build a normal country for people. Bangladeshis breathe dirty air, they bathe in rivers of waste, they get stuck in huge traffic jams, they cut up old ships, and they work in a brothel the size of a city. The country's national motto is "Victory to the Bengalis." At some point, they did win the war for independence, but they have not yet been able to win the war for a normal life. If you like this video, don't forget to post about it on Reddit and share it with your friends on WhatsApp.